One world, your station.
Sidharth Malhotra, wonderful to see you, bro. I hope the family and you are safe and healthy and you've all got your jabs.
Yes. It's been a long gap for obvious reasons. And my family and me have been very lucky to stay away from falling sick and taken our jabs and taking all the precautions, just like I hope everyone else who's listening to us is. Because, I mean, we've gone through the worst, but we still have a pandemic on our hands. So be safe, guys, and take all precautions.
Sid, describe to me what happened on Kargil Divas when you launched the promo. It must have been a really goosebump-inducing, time for you guys going back up there in the mountains.
Well, this year we all, as a team, got an opportunity to be invited by the Indian Army to attend, Kargil Vijay Divas 22 years later. And it was just such a surreal and special and emotional feeling to see, pretty much most of the families who lost one of their family member, during the Kargil battle, to come and light a candle, to pay their respects, meet each other, console each other, and just relive or the reason why their family members gave their lives. And the army letting us portray our trailer on that day, on that special day with all the families first, was lovely. I mean, for me, I feel this film is beyond the commercials, beyond the branding or trending or whatever. I think it's meant for these families. It's meant to show respect to all the martyrs who gave their lives during Kargil war. And we're hoping that people get inspired and remember the sacrifices that that all these soldiers have made for us. So it was a special experience. And, we had so many members of the media there who felt the same. We had the top brass of the Indian Army, saying that they're giving their nod of approval. That means a lot to an actor, especially, when I'm playing this character, real life character, for the first time. It meant a lot, and I'm hoping that they react the same once they see the film.
It's almost karmic that a boy who grew up in defense colony in Delhi does a film about the armed forces. Yeah. It's just something beautiful about that, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, my grandfather was in the army. He served in the Indo-China battle. I've heard stories of him getting injured there, and he took early retirement. He passed away when I was really young, but through my grandmother, there are countless stories of, what they had to go through when their husband is gone, for battlefield. And that time they were just skewed to radio, to get news or letters at that time during my grandfather. So I'm pretty much a quarter army brat, but to relive this as an adult is a special experience. To relive Captain Vikram Batra's love story or life story is a special experience. I mean, I have spoken to so many of his comrades, so many of his family members, relived his footage or his imagery that we had, trying to recreate him as much as we can in the most authentic way we can. And that's why Shershaah for me is, extremely special, and really looking forward to this film to be seen by as many people as possible now, because for it being on Amazon Prime Video.
Bro, the director, Vishnu.
Yes.
I mean, this is a man who made, I'm speaking like a Bombay Tamil, but this is a man who made the iconic Billa with Ajit sir. It's obvious from the footage that I see of the two of you guys, you're in sync, you get along really well with each other. But when did you first hear of Vishnu? When did you befriend him? Because you've lived with this film for a long time, bro. I mean, I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years. So your first meeting with Vishnu and what really drew you to him and this mission?
So I actually, on this project, the first person that I met was Vishal Batra, who's Vikram Batra's twin brother, almost 5 years ago, with Shabir Boxwala, our producer. And there was a complete different team at that time, a different script, a lot of material, which was not concised into a short script. And things were not really moving forward. So I wasn't happy. I wanted to get this film made. I knew that I'm, want to be a part of this film and portray this, but it needed the right kind of people around it to make it. So a year and a half, about 2 years passed away in that process. And then I took over and said to Vishal that, let me take this film to Dharma Productions. I feel they have not done something like this before. They had not signed Gunjan or anything else at that time. And then the ball started rolling. And interestingly, Sandeep Srivastav, our writer, was working with Vishnu Vardhan at that time for some other project. And Vishnu, as we all know, has made many movies, but not in Hindi. So this was his. Oddly, I think through Sandeep, Vishnu had heard of this film being made in Hindi, and a conversation started, and that's where it came to us that Vishnu Vardhan would like to know, what are we making, what are we doing on Shershaah, Captain Vikram Batra's life story. And so we were all very excited to get because you need an experienced hand on a film like this. There are so many things in one's life, and Vishnu was so driven, Vishnu was so focused, he was so excited to show do a war film, to do a biopic, because it's different from his Billa series, different from the other, say, even a love story that he's done. So I think he's used a bit of I keep telling Vishnu, I said, we've shot like 2 different films, man, because we shot the love story in Chandigarh and Palampur, which is the younger boy before Vikram Batra becomes an army officer. And then we shot this battlefield in Kargil, which is dusty, gruesome, 12,000 to 14,000 feet above sea level, lack of oxygen, and really tough conditions. They don't look like the same world. Even when you see the film, they're distinct parts. And I think hats off to Vishnu, the writers, Sandeep, and even Kamaljeet Negi, our cameraman, to capture that in a far more real yet very impactful way, that I think people will find it one of the most interesting war films that have been shot in recent times.
Sid, let's spend some time on the music. I mean, again, as somebody, whenever there's a Sid Malhotra film, I'm there, we chat, we spend time together, which is so beautiful. I mean, as somebody who has so much love for you. And I know for a fact that, the fact that today there was the release of Ranjha, such a beautiful tune. And suddenly, deja vu happened. And I was like, you and me sitting together in my studio talking about Bar Bar Dekho, that soundtrack where Jasleen did such a fabulous job. And here's Jasleen back again in your life. Tanish Bagchi, who did Rata Lambiya, again, a wonderful association. He did such a fab job for your Jabriya Jodi. So in that aspect, these collaborators, you must feel a great sense of comfort when you know that these are collaborators who are on this project, because these people have given you some super hits.
Absolutely. I have consciously, from, I would say, my second film or my third film, made efforts to, collate musicians and tracks, because I think that's something that's such an integral part of Hindi movies. And culturally, we all remember yaar, ki gana pehle aata hai, picture baad mein aati hai. You hear the songs first, you see the visuals first. And I've consciously made effort to hopefully get, and I have been lucky enough, I would say, to get the correct teams over the years, whether it's Bar Bar Dekho, Kapoor and Sons, Ek Villain, Jawariya Jodi recently, or Marjama as well. And here I'm back again with a special film of mine. And I would say first in Dharma Production, Azim is a very integral part of collating, this film and these tracks, whether it's Jasleen, who actually on Ranjha, which released today, it's a very interesting story that this was a song that I heard, I would say, about 3 years ago. It was supposed to be in another film, but we decided to pull it out at that time from actually Jawariya Jodi. And then I'm very happy that eventually it's coming here because it fits in so well. And, they've reworked the track, the vibe. We've got B Prag to sing it, who adds so much soul to a song. I love the folk angle of this song. I love it's two people committing to each other, coming together in a romantic track. And I think Jasleen and B Prag have done a fabulous job. Tanish Bagchi, I think he's been a major part of my songs in Bollywood for a long time, and I think he always delivers something which is fresh and commercial. And that's exactly what he did with Rata Lamya. It's such a soft first love kind of melody. It's got a slight hint of Punjabi because the film is, this character is based in Palampur, Chandigarh. and Dimple's character is Sardarni. So I think again, it never fails, and they always produce some really good music that makes me look good on screen. So I thank all the musicians and for this lovely track and all the albums that they made for me over the years. And I feel Shershaah will be slightly more special to me because it's a true story for me for the first time. And I hope that they remember them for the songs and for the film and for the genuine hard work that everybody's put in.
Yeah, and in that aspect, both these guys have gone back to their roots. You look at Tanishq's signature big ballad, which comes off in Rata Lambia. And Jasleen tells me she started off in Hindu College in the North Campus in Delhi, just sitting under trees and playing the acoustic guitar. And Ranja has that stripped down feel of that, and so much happens in the song, literally, if you look at it, because it's about the two of you in a gurdwara, which is Captain Batra and Dimple, where they're actually quasi getting married. And then it's in a sense also a separation song, because he then goes away. So I think that the music is a character of its own in this film. Would you agree with me, Sid?
No, absolutely. So we consciously, obviously, do not have lip sync songs in this film. It's a true life story of one of our most iconic heroes. So we needed moments that would give you, and also, really being inspired from the real life, that they were, Captain Vikram Batra in real life was very, very filmy. In general, he was a big film buff in the 90s. So whether it's showcasing their college romance, which has that first love feeling, or Ranja when they're slightly more matured and, committing to each other, we needed songs to portray, in that much time, whatever these characters wanted to say to each other. I think that's what songs were meant to be in Hindi movies, and we are back to that. We're using that classic format of keeping songs for situations that take the story forward and really get the characters together. Because if you had to put scenes, it would probably take longer to show. And I think whether it's Jasleen coming back to her roots and giving us a very soulful track, or Tanishq, which is who's creating a commercial yet fresh melody. We are really, really happy with the album, and I think I'm really excited for people to hear the rest of the songs. Even Man Bharya is a classic of B Prag, which was a single before. And I remember calling Dharma Productions and Asim that listen, guys, I need this song. Man Bharya is so apt in Shershaah. We need to get this. And it's that painful melody of love being lost, and I was so excited, and that's why I think that time Sony Music was not on board, and then deal kind of happened and Sony Music came on board. And we've obviously adapted the song for the film. So I'm really looking forward to the whole album. We also have another song called Jai Hind Ki Sena, which we've created, which is not obviously in the film, to really give an oath to all the soldiers, who fight, to get into the mindset of Vikram Batra, how he never backs off. So that's I would say more of an action army theme for us, which is Jai Hind Ki Sena. And then we have Kabhi Tumhe, which is another soulful parting song between Dimple and Vikram Batra. So we have a wonderful album. We've obviously kept it soft and kind of classic, keeping the film in mind. It's based in the 90s. And as the month passes by, we'll release all of them, and looking forward for people to hear it.
Sid, it must be a goosebump-inducing experience when his twin brother comes to you, which is Vishal, and says, "Bro, you remind me of my brother." And then I've seen these wonderful pictures of you going to the Batra household, in a room where, there are pictures of Vikram, his memorabilia. And in that aspect, this probably is the most important film of your career, because it has so many human beings and a martyr attached to it. Talk about the impact on Sid Malhotra, the person, beyond the actor.
No, I feel absolutely. The first time that I met Vishal Batra and his father saying that, they would like me to play their son or their brother, what struck me first was that they could be there culturally, whether it's the culture, whether it's just the background that they come from and I come from. I just felt like this could be very well my family. This could be my cousin. This could be my uncle, my aunt. Possibly because of the cultural background that they come from. And I just felt that instant connect. I said, even though they've been school teachers and their son went to the Indian Army. My dad was in the Indian Army, and then my father and me have gone other ways. I just felt that cultural connect, and I felt, that I owe it to them to give my best to portray their son in the best possible light and the most authentic light possible, because he's had a very inspiring life. He's a unique, he was a unique character, and for him to be on top of that battlefield 15,000 16,000 feet above, do his first mission and call up his seniors and say, "Ye dil mange more, sir. Ye dil mange more." It takes a very different mindset. It's not a holiday up there. There's no cakewalk. You're battered, bruised, you're bloody, but yet your mentality is so tough and strong that you're not really scared. I think that's one thing that I gauged from the family, that he had no obstacles. He had overcome the biggest obstacle that we all go through, which is fear. He overcame that and said it with such confidence and panache when he said, "Idil mange more." So I feel, A, that story needed to be told. B, I felt, I owe it to the family that their son's sacrifice should be there, or all the soldiers who gave their lives in Kargil battle need to be treated with that much respect, because they did. We can't say it was not about us. It's a story about all of us. They're fighting for all of us living here, giving this interview, working, functioning, and we kind of forget. You kind of take them for granted. So I feel it's just a gentle yet true, inspiring reminder of all the sacrifices that our armed forces go through, and which makes all these reasons, just makes the film so special for me, that I think it's beyond commercials.
You're such a fine actor. I mean, you see one phase of Vikram's life when he's in college doing his MA, romancing Dimple. And then you see the hardcore combat scenes where he's actually going up the hill. I know you didn't go all the way up to that particular level, but you were pretty close. Would you tell me about the armed forces input, the Fauji officer who handheld you through the combat scenes? Because it couldn't have been easy. And also to get into the mind of a Fauji like Vikram Batra, because getting into the mind of him as a romantic filmy boy, that could have perhaps been a little easier to do. But the combat version of it, please.
So absolutely. I think in my head, there are two different sides to Captain Vikram Batra. One is, of course, the Punjabi boy in Palampur and Chandigarh, which I could connect to because of my personal background and upbringing as well. But then there was the other side, which is the armed forces, which is the latter half of his life, where we wanted to be as authentic as we could. We've obviously taken slight cinematic liberties, but we needed to prep for it. We trained for it. I had ex-army personnel training me in Mumbai. And then after a point, it was not only me, but the rest of the cast, whoever's playing a soldier was there. We were doing drills, we were doing weapon training, we were doing formations going into a battlefield. We knew our set missions, just like how they would train actual army personnel. One would be here, one would be there. And then we went to Kargil. We were actually shooting with active military Indian Army soldiers who were as authentic as you get. And I was using the actual INSAS gun, which the Indian Army soldier does. Obviously, we had fake bullets. All of us, we actually should first thank the Indian Army for helping us get all these facilities and equipment to make it more authentic. I think, big salute to the Indian Army for guiding us through the correct norms. They've been a big support, whether it's locations, whether it's the tactical aspects, whether it's the authentic documentation of what happened in the battlefield. When I remember it's such an amazing instance that I would never forget. On my second day of shoot in Kargil at 14,000 feet above sea level, where the oxygen is less and a lot of wind and dust, I was waiting with other actors, some of them are real army men, for the shot, just sitting on a rock with your gun, with your actual gear, like how soldiers do. And when they said ready, got up and shrugged off some dust to keep your costume continuity on. And that one young Jawan was just staring at me for a while and then just said, "Arey, क्या हो गया साहब, अपनी तो मिट्टी है.
Wow.
So and I was like, I said, wow, I just looked at him and smiled. I said, he said so many, it has so many emotions, so many different meanings to that line. And I just smiled and said, नहीं यार, हमारे picture के लिए costume continuity होती है, तो I started explaining it to him. But later on, it stayed with me. It still stays with me. He said it with such good, genuine heart and emotion for the country that we might feel our dialogues, but they live that. So it's definitely not dialogues for them. It's their life. It's their blood and sweat that they're staying and living and protecting us. And that's why the more we appreciate all our armed forces giving their time and life and for our protection is less.
My last question, and let's wrap with this, is Kiara. You know, she can be drop dead gorgeous, and at the other end of the spectrum, you see her playing playing Dimple, and just that story is just unbelievable. Somebody who's still waiting for that true love, maybe in the next life, and she's done such a splendid job, and I can't imagine anybody else doing this part. You know, let's commend her as a professional before we sign off. Just your thoughts, nuances that you think she's picked up working with her.
No, absolutely. I think first, just to see and hear the true story, true love story of Captain Vikram Batra and Dimple makes you believe in love again. Makes you believe in that true classic love, where it's not about the time that you spent, but that the connection, the genuine, commitment that you give to a man or a woman, that means everything. And to portray that with honesty, I think no one else better than Kiara Advani would have come on board and portrayed Dimple, where she, she's not Punjabi, she doesn't know the language, and she's worked really hard to, pick it up, get the accent bang on. I'm a Punjabi boy myself, so I could tell the difference. I think that for sure, she really gets into her character, and just the earnest honesty of Dimple. We're hoping that she's obviously with us. She's very, very camera shy and media shy, so we're hoping that once she sees the film and her portrayal of Dimple, our portrayal of Dimple, then I hope it brings a smile, and I'm sure it'll be very difficult watch for her. But I think she'll be very, very proud of Kiara, and just like how all of us are. And she's added a lot to the love story and heart of the film.
I'm always in your corner, brother, and can't wait to see this one. And I know you're going to knock it out of the park. God bless you, Sid. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much. Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.
94.3 Radio 1. One world, your station.